Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This video is for my single solitary student who is in geometry. He had sent me an email asking for help from a couple of topics because he's an ambitious little bugger and he's already in chapter 2. And don't worry, we have a plan for the DSAs. I just need approval from administration. Alright, so where we are at right now, this is the last two families of Goal 2, meaning that you're probably near done and are looking to wrap yourself up to get yourself up to 25%. So going through these two of these topics are pitifully simple. Like you're going to look at them and say, oh miss, I did this in I did this in Algebra 1 and I did this in Algebra 2. Why did I forget? But two of them are honest to God. They're not hard, but they're very work intensive. And of course, those are the two that are the DSA questions. So first things first, let's get our feet wet with some of the easier topics before we dive into some of the cooler stuff. First things first, this is very specifically Algebra 1 Goal 3 or 4, and like there's already a video on it on the channel, but since this is geometry, it's okay, it's been a while, get a review. What we're looking for, we're gonna process the dim memories and dusty memories of freshman year as we have y equals mx plus b. B being your y-intercept, which specifically is what they give you here, and then m being the slope, which is the thing that they expect you to find. Slope in wow, I can't spell. Look at that. Slope. Slope being the thing that they expect you to find. Slope, if you recall, is rise. I still can't spell. Rise over run. So if we zoom in a little bit and get a bit closer look, we can see here our first point, our y-intercept is at -3. So it's y equals something x minus 3. All that's left now is we got to find out what is that slope. What's that blank empty spot? So we're looking for rise over run. Rise takes care of my up and down. Run takes care of my left and right. So you read a graph. This is also back from Algebra 1 and again in Algebra 2. You read a graph the way you read words. You read from right to left. So if you're making your slope, and I'm reading from right to left, that means it's going up, which is positive. If it's going down, again, because you're reading from right to left, then this is a negative slope. So looking at this, I can see that it's sloping down. So that means this is going to be a negative slope. Now, the last question is, what's my rise? 1, 2, 3. I'm going down 3 over 1, 2, 3, 4. And there's my equation. Simple as that. So if we're looking at this one, similarly, equals something x. What's our y-intercept? -4. All right, and now what is our slope? This looks a little bit more complicated. So what's our rise? Well, it's going down, which means it's going to be negative. And then how far are we going? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9. And then we're going over. Okay, 9 over 3. Now, as always, if you can simplify this, you want to. So 9 over 3 equals 3, so your slope is -3, and your equation is -3x minus 4. Over here, what's our y-intercept? Our y-intercept is right there, and it's 0, which technically you don't need to write. Let's see, and then what's our slope? This is a positive slope because we're going up this time. So we go up 1, 2, 3, 4. And then over 5, 4/5 x plus 0. So hopefully you're not banging your head against the keyboard too much as you realize how simple that is. This is another one. Next topic, vertical and horizontal lines, is another one that kids, they know what they're doing, but they forget which one they're doing. Because you kind of know that you're going to have an x equals, and you kind of know that you're going to have a y equals. But what kids tend to forget is what that actually means. So if I have some random schmaltzy point over here, let's do the actual example. We have -1, 3. So right there we are, -1 and 3, parentheses. What they're looking for, if they want that vertical line, they want all of the points there, right? Well, if you think about that, what are your points? You have, say, -1, 0, -1, 1, -1, 2, -1, 3. And you realize that your vertical line is your x. So this is your vertical line, and it's going to be -1. Based on that, If you're looking at a horizontal line over here, what do you have? You have 0, 3, 1, 3, 2, 3. All of those coordinates is what make up our horizontal line, which means our horizontal line, oh God, I can't spell. Horizontal line, our horizontal line is going to be our y equals 3. And based on that, I don't even need to set up the next one. What is it going to be? Our vertical is going to be x equals -7, and our horizontal is going to be y equals 8. Again, hopefully not face planting into the keyboard too hard to realize that this is easy. Now, the next two topics are DSA topics. So let's scroll down and see what they are. So I have two problems set up here because they didn't give me the actual answer boxes when I was doing my screen grabs for some reason. What we're looking for here, and I'll write it off in a corner, is ultimately they're looking for us to find our slope. That's what we're looking for. So we have to force the equations into your y equals mx plus b format. So if we look at our lines, we have y equals -3/4 x plus 8. So that one, what's our slope? -3/4 because it's already in the format that we want. That's good. The next line we have is 4y equals -3x plus 5. Is that in the format we want, the y equals mx plus b? Not completely, because that 4 is in the way. So we just go through the work of solving it. Divide by 4, divide by 4, divide by 4. So y equals -3/4 x plus 5/4. What's my slope? -3/4. Okay, that's 2 out of 3. Now I want to find out what my last one is. So what's our last one? We have 8x plus 6y equals -4. Oh, Lord, that's nowhere near format. So we have a little bit of work to do. So let's practice some social distancing and move things around. -8x minus 8x. 6y equals -8x minus 4. Divide by 6, divide by 6. I'm not getting into the finer details of this because you've done this type of equation manipulation since Algebra 1. And you did it again in Algebra 2, and now you're doing it again in geometry. You've had, I hope, enough exposure to this that you know what you're doing, and I don't have to justify everything single step. 8, 6x minus 4, 6. So what's our slope? -8/6. But we can simplify that because those are both even numbers. That's -4/3. Okay. Then we have our slopes, and now we're ready to figure out which is which, if there have any parallel lines or any perpendiculars. Except, oh wait, what does it mean to be parallel? What does it mean to be perpendicular? So there are two symbols in geometry for parallel and perpendicular. Set of parallel lines, that means parallel. Upside down T, that means perpendicular. So I have them. So parallel is parallel lines, perpendicular is an upside down T. Parallel means you have the same slope, exactly the same, a straight up copy and paste. For perpendicular, what we have is a fancy math word, or two fancy math words, opposite, reciprocal. What that means is that everything is flipped. You flip your sign and you flip your fraction. So if I'm looking at line 1 and line 2, what do we have? -3/4, -3/4. It's the same slope. They're parallel. All right? Line 2 and line 3. What do we have? We have -3/4 and -4/3. The fraction flipped, but did the signs flip? No. So this is neither. All right? How about line 1 and line 3? 3/4 and 4/3. The fractions flipped, but the signs didn't, so this is neither. And you can start to see, look at all of the work I did just for one problem. It's not hard, it's just long. And that's what happens for the next topic in particular. None of the work is hard, it's just long. So let's look at our next problem. Let's see here, I'll erase some of this to give myself some space. There. All right. So what do we have? Our first one is 2y equals 5x plus 3. All right, divide by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2. y equals 5 halves x plus 3. Our slope is 5 halves. Okay, so that's line 1. Next up, we have y equals 2/5 x plus 5. There's no extra steps there. Our slope is right there. 2/5 is our line 2. Okay? Next one, 10x plus 4y equals -2. So minus 10x minus 10x. 4y equals -10x minus 2. Divide by 4. Divide by 4. Divide by 4. Y equals -10 fourths x minus 2 over 4. So what's our slope? We have -10 over 4, and that simplifies to -5 over 2. Okay, and that is line 3. So line 1 and line 2, what's so special about them? 1 and 2, well, the fraction is flipped, so we got that part, but is the sign flipped? Nope, so that's neither. Neither. All right, how about line 2 and 3? 2 and 3. 2/5, 5/3. Positive, negative. Everything flipped, so this is perpendicular. Lines 2 and 3. Yeah. Line 2 and line 3 is perpendicular. All right, how about line 1 and line 3? Let's see here, we have 5 halves and -5 halves. The signs flipped, but the fractions didn't, so this is neither. I hope that makes sense. Now we want to talk a little bit about the last topic. So again, this, not at all subtle, is a DSA topic. This one also is a DSA topic. Now for this, there's an old dusty formula back in the powers of the memory when you were a young person, okay? What we need is the formula for slope. So slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Unilaterally, most common mistake is kids think they can do this in their heads. Now, Ms. Dubois, the trained math teacher, she can keep track of the math in her head, but not everyone can. So what we're going to do, we're going to set ourselves up, and we need to find the slope for each of these lines. So you're doing this 3 times. So let's see here, x1, y1, x2, y2. So 7 minus 2, and then it's going to be 7 minus 2, and there's going to be 4 minus 2. So our first line is going to be 7 minus 2, which is 5, and then 4 minus 2, which is 2. All right, next one. y2 is going to be -2 minus, what's our y1? 8. Well, x2 is going to be -2. What's our x1? 2. Okay, -2 minus 8 is -10. -2 minus 2 is -4. Double negative makes a positive. That simplifies to 5 over 2. Okay, now we do it again, this time for line 3. What's line 3? So y2 is going to be 7 minus 2, and then it will be 0 minus -2. 7 minus 2 is 5, and then 0 minus double negative is a positive. It'll be 5 over 2. So what are our answers for these? 5 over 2, 5 over 2, 5 over 2. Every single one of these is parallel because every single one of these is the same line. I hope that clarifies. Now we're going to do it again. Let's see here, x1, y1, x2, y2. So what do we have? We have 7 minus 2, and then we have 4 minus 2. What do we have? 7 minus 2 is 5. 4 minus 2 is 2. Okay, so far so good. What's the next one? Slope number 2. We have 8 minus, that's our y2, what's our y1? Minus -2, double negative, and then we have 2 minus -2, minus -2. So double negative makes a positive, so 8 plus 2 is 10. It's a 10. 2 minus -2, double negative makes a positive, which is 4, so that's going to be 5 halves. Did we get the same thing? I don't think so. Huh. You haven't been watching my videos, but oh my god, I've been having the worst luck with screen grabs where I just keep getting the same problem over and over. What's our y2? y2 is 2 minus 7, and then we have x2, which is -2 minus 0. So 2 minus 7 is negative 5. It is the same thing because negative 2 minus 0 is negative 2. Double negative makes a positive and it becomes 5 over 2. What the heck? This is the same thing. That's what I get for doing this live in front of someone, or at least live in front of a computer screen. I don't know. All right. So that's what these 4 topics are like. The last one, the introduction to proofs, that's one of the fun ones, but that's kind of a video all on its own. Proofs in general tend to be their own videos because they are beautiful and nuanced and absolutely fun and utterly hard for students. And you want to do those a little bit slower. Have fun with goal 3. Mwahahahaha. But in the meantime, hopefully this sets you up. If you have any further, if this doesn't get you to 85%, let me know, and we'll come up with another list to get you through the chapter. As always, stay happy, stay healthy, stay safe.